Alexander Pope wrote, "To err is human." And you know what? He was right. We all make mistakes, but there are some mistakes out there that we can avoid. So let's talk about the 5 mistakes that IMGs tend to make in the NHS when they start working as doctors and how you can avoid them.
If this is the first time you're checking out our channel, welcome. Basically what we do is we run a website that's totally free known as roadtok.com, and it will explain the ins and outs about everything related to the United Kingdom and what it takes for you to work as a doctor in the NHS. So if you've not already, please stalk us on all of our social media. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, Instagram, and of course, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe.
Hi everyone, my name is Ibreez and I currently work as a doctor in the NHS. And do you know what? When we all start out with anything, we are extremely self-conscious. We analyze every little thing we do, what we say, how we walk, how we dress, because we're scared. We're working in a new environment with new people who we've never, worked with before, and we're wondering, are they also going to be as critical of us as we are to ourselves? I think a lot of this then stacks up on us and we start making mistakes, or we start thinking, actually, no, I can't do this, and it turns into a mistake because we aren't being the way we normally are. So I thought it's a really good idea if we talk about these kind of mistakes that we've seen, we've committed, we've seen others commit, and really why you don't need to be doing those things and why confidence literally is the key to this. The first mistake that IMGs tend to make is they don't ask questions. Now, what I mean by that is you don't have to ask questions for every little thing to show that you're interested, that you're keen, that you're eager, that you want to know more. Of course not. But if you don't understand something, or somebody said something and you just need them to repeat themselves, by all means, ask them. If they throw an acronym at you that you've never heard of before, just ask them, what does that mean? It's okay. I think a little bit of it is we feel like, okay, we're in this new place. If we start asking a lot of questions, they're going to be like, oh, we just hired this person. They don't seem to know anything. Why are they asking so many questions? And we start thinking to ourselves, maybe they will think these questions are silly questions. First of all, I'm not really a huge proponent of the belief that there are silly questions. There are logical questions, perhaps, and questions that are relevant to what's happening around you. Most definitely. But if you don't know something, it's better you ask and then you learn rather than you make a mistake and then, well, that's how you learn the answer to that question, I suppose. So ask questions. The first few times, the first few shifts, the first few weeks and months, you're going to be asking a lot of questions, and gradually those questions will start to taper out. But every new rotation you're on, every new hospital you go to, or every new group of people you meet, you will have a fresh set of questions, and it's totally okay to ask them. This is how you're learning. If you feel like, no, actually, they're starting to judge me for the questions that I'm asking, first of all, that could just be a perception that you hold. I definitely feel that a lot of times when I start saying things or acting a certain way that people probably think, oh my God, Ibreez is so weird, look at her. And yeah, that's just me. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's true. I mean, I guess if somebody thinks I am weird out there, that's cool. I recognize the fact that I am a little off. And that's okay. I mean, I still get around and do what I need to do and make ends meet. So when you're actually thinking about, okay, what is it that's happening here? What do I need to know? Put those pertinent questions out there. Ask at a relevant time, and then take note of the answers that you've gotten, because that's the information that you can then take forward. So don't be scared to ask questions. The second mistake that international doctors tend to make when they start out in the NHS is they don't take sick leave. You guys, take your sick leave. If you're sick, don't come to work. You are working in an environment where there are already individuals who are unwell, who may be immunocompromised. Why do you want to bring your germs to work where you can also then potentially infect those you work with? Like, it doesn't make sense. It's not a hero complex. You're not going to get brownie points or an extra salary or more, vacation days because you didn't use the same sick leave day. No, nothing like that. If you're unwell, don't come in. End all. Some people might be like, oh, but what if somebody thinks I'm like this? Or what if somebody thinks I'm just, I don't want to come in because of whatever reason? Well, what does it matter what they think? You're sick. You're unwell. Imagine, we as doctors go into a hospital. We treat very unwell patients on a day-to-day basis. Do you sit there, somebody who's in the hospital, do you start judging them? Oh my God, I can't believe this person is sick and they're not at work today. I can't imagine what's going on in their workplace if they're not there. Of course you don't. You're empathetic. You're sympathetic. You're like, oh man, this person, I need to help them get better. It's so awful that they're feeling unwell. And you know what? That's what your coworkers are thinking as well. Oh, it's really, unfortunate that so-and-so is unwell. Hope they get better soon. Stay at home until you get better. Please take your sick leave. Please, it's really important, because not only do you need to be 100% on a normal day-to-day basis, when you're unwell, you will be a little bit foggy. You increase your chances of making a mistake. And of course, like I said, it's icky. Don't bring germs to work. There are enough germs at the hospital already. The third mistake that international doctors make when they start working in the NHS is they don't say no. It could be an element of they don't know how to say no. First, because they're just too polite and they think if they say no, they'll be looked at as, why are you saying no? Or the other element is, oh, I don't want to say no. I want to show that I'm a team player. Now, there's a difference between being a team player and saying no because you can't do something. You're not physically able to do something, or you already got enough on your plate. It's okay to say no. You can be polite about it and it can be fine and no one will come after you. So examples of that would be, for instance, if you've already worked a 9 to 5 and somebody calls you up and says, listen, can you stick around till 10 p.m. today? We'll pay you a little extra. And you already have plans for the evening. Maybe you've got a date you've got to go on. You're going to hang out with some friends. You're going to go catch a movie. You're just going to sit at home and do absolutely nothing. You don't want to come in? You know what you can say? N-O. No, thank you. I've already got plans. Or even if you say you've got plans, just say no. I'm not going to stick around. If anyone's making you feel bad about that, that's on them. That's not on you. You have every right to say no. It's really important you put yourself first. If you think you can't do something, or you're unable to do a procedure because you've never done it before, or you're not sure about something that somebody's asking you to do, say no. Ask those questions. Figure out what has to be done. The next time, if it's appropriate, by all means do it. But if you have even the slightest hint of hesitation because you're not 100% confident, or you're not totally sure how this needs to go down, don't do it. Say no. Doesn't matter if you've done it a billion times back home. Back home is not the NHS. The fourth mistake, guys, you don't take advantage of your annual leave. So many people, I ask them, hey, what'd you do for your annual leave? And they'll just be like, oh, nothing. Well, okay, that's maybe a little judgmental on my part. Maybe you enjoy doing nothing. But I do hear from a lot of international doctors, they're just like, well, there was no place to go. There was nothing to do, because maybe they weren't able to go back home because it was only a short period of time, or there wasn't much for them to do back home anyway, so they decided not to make, the flight back home or anything like that. Take advantage of your annual leave. The United Kingdom is not that big of a country. Let's be real. I mean, no offense to any locals out there. The country real small. So there's a lot to go and see. If you can't drive or you don't have a car, it's okay. Either you can rent a car or group up with some friends. All y'all take your vacation days together. Go see some place. Get on a bus. Get on a train. Take a taxi. Look at a map and see what's around you. See what events might be happening on particular weekends, or some time of the year that you're like, ooh, maybe I want to go do that. We are also so close to Europe, and literally a lot of flights to Europe are much cheaper than internal public transport. I still don't get why that is, but it's a thing. So look at websites, see how much a flight to maybe Spain costs, Germany, Romania, wherever you want to go. If you're like, I've got 10 days off. What can I do with those 10 days? See Europe. See some other parts of the world. Figure out what visa requirements there are if you need a visa. If you don't need a visa, you know what you do? Just get on a plane and go. And use your annual leave wisely. I know, like I said before, if your annual leave, you're totally fine with just sitting at home. By all means, do that. But take advantage of it. Take your annual leave on time. Just like you guys said before about your sick leave. Make sure when you're taking it, you are making sure that you are resetting, that you are relaxing, you're taking no work at all. You're putting on your email, hi, thanks for emailing me. I am on annual leave from this date to this date. I may not be able to answer my emails during this time. This inbox will be unmonitored, and bam, disconnect. Do not think about work, because when you're at work, you shouldn't be thinking about being on holiday, although I suppose most of us tend to be in our off moments. But really, guys, you're on vacation. Why are you going to think about work? We have enough work going on, especially with COVID in the last couple of years. So disconnect and enjoy yourself. It's really important to do that. And finally, the fifth mistake that IMGs tend to make when they start out in the NHS is they don't know their rights. A lot of what I talked about today, a lot of these mistakes are basically not knowing your rights. What do I mean by knowing your rights? Read your contract. Know what kind of a contract you're on. Know what's stipulated in your contract. How much sick leave can you take? What's your mat and pat leave rights? What about annual leave? How much annual leave can you take it? What is your period of notice if you wanted to change jobs? If somebody asks you to move to another hospital, even though you've been contractually working at hospital A, can they ask you to move to hospital B? Can someone say that you must come in early even though your rota says you start at 9 a.m.? Can someone say you must stay late even though your rota says you must go home at 5? So knowing all of these things will help you say no, will help you take advantage of your leaves, and basically it will help you ask questions because you will know what kind of questions you need to be asking. It's not that you have to be a stickler for the rights to the point where you're just rigid and you're like, it says it exactly like this. No, of course, there's an understanding to be had. You know what you have to do. You know what everyone else around you needs to be doing. But if you don't know your rights, that's your quick ticket to getting really frustrated, for feeling like actually nobody really wants me here or understands what I need or understands me. And most of the time it's just actually you don't know the rights that are being afforded to you. They don't know that you don't know those rights, and it's just chaos. So know about your rights. If you're confused about anything, there are a lot of trade unions you can join. You have indemnity coverage that you can speak to about, how am I supposed to do these things? What's happening here? What's happening there? You can ask us. You can ask, your colleagues. You can ask the people that you're working with. Within your hospital, there may be other individuals or other organizations you can ask, for instance, like the Freedom to Speak Up Guardians, your rota coordinators, your guardian of safe working hours. If you have any other questions related to coming to work early or late or anything like that, if somebody's just totally decided at the very last minute to change what your roster is. So all of these mistakes that I've mentioned, I'm sure there are more out there. There are things that we haven't thought about, or there are things that you have experienced that you wish you actually had known ahead of time, and I get it. By all means, comment below if there's anything else that we can talk out and help you all figure out. It happens. We've all been there. We've all felt that moment where we were like, what, this was a huge mistake on my part. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have come here. I don't know what I'm doing. But you will slowly realize if you implement the things that I've talked about in this video in your day-to-day, it will make a huge difference a couple of months down the line. And when you look back and reflect, you'll realize, actually, this was important for me to do. I needed to be confident. I needed to stand up for myself. And it's not about you being arrogant. It's not about you coming across as someone who's brash. It's about you taking care of yourself. Because at the end of the day, we spend 99.9% of our breathing, living time on this earth taking care of others in our role. So why not spend that 0.1% taking care of ourselves? And to really finish off the quote by Alexander Pope, to err is human, but to forgive is divine. So if you've made these mistakes, if you've made any other mistakes, it's okay. Forgive yourself, move on, take it as a learning experience. I hope this video has been a learning experience for you all, and that you continue to follow us in our journey on your road to UK. So please continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you feel like you want to talk to me on a more one-to-one level, or with Ibrahim, you can always book a personalized guidance session. We've got a forum you can check out, a newsletter to subscribe to, and we will see you all around. Thanks, and bye.